Ma'am, just 2 minutes.
Sure.
Good evening. Now let's start our talk show episode 73. The only piece that is stand between you and your dreams is able to try and believe that is actually possible. It's a beautiful quote quoted by Joel Brown. So this quote I could like to bring our talk show name Conversation with Consultants with episode 73 of our guest talk series. Good evening, everyone. I am Dima Kumari, ICR coordinator of SKNG, and I am your host for today's talk show. Before we begin our talk show, let me briefly introduce SK Associates and Management. We are an ISO certified management consulting firm registered under the MSMED Act 2006 with the Government of India. Our mission is providing consulting service to student entrepreneurs globally, covering such as area compliance, operations, marketing, research and development, human capital, strategic, and operations. Our passion lies in helping these budding entrepreneurs bringing their dreams to life and contribute to global economics growth. Entrepreneurship is a catalyst for change and innovation. It's a powerful force that can reshape industries, transform lives, and make the world a better place. We are committed to supporting students, entrepreneurs on their journey, equipping them with the tools, knowledge, and network they need to succeed. Now, before I begin our show, let's take a moment to introduce our guest for today. It gives us immense pleasure to welcome Dr. Mansi Sharma, Executive Legal and Mediation of Global Peace, Let's Talk International UK, to this special event. We are truly honored your presence today and we are delighted to have you here in this talk show to share your insight with us. We could like to start this interview with our first question for you. What is intellectual property?
Well, when we talk about property in the legal sense, everything is a property. The talk show that you're recording is of course going to be your own property. So thank you for the kind introduction. And I feel that in today's time, understanding intellectual property is very, very important. So what is intellectual property? Property can be movable, immovable, tangible, intangible. So there are certain properties which are created through intellect. Simply speaking, those are intellectual properties. So whatever comes through human mind, through human wisdom, through the gray matter, is intellectual property. And there are rights to protect that intellectual property, and those are known as intellectual property rights. So largely this is intangible property, not in concrete form but at abstract form when it begins, the source, because it is coming from the human mind, and these are the ideas and the creations of the human mind. So to be precise, the intellectual property rights are those rights which protect the intellectual property, and they can exist in any form, say patents, say trademarks, or maybe the copyrights. So in any form, intellectual property can be protected. So these are the intellectual property rights.
Nice. Moving with next question. Why do we need intellectual property law?
Well, suppose if you write a poem, okay, and it is in circulation, what happens is somebody copy pastes that poem and reproduces it as one's own creation, and that person is appreciated for that poetry. How will you feel? You will feel bad that it was written by me, but see how people are acknowledging somebody else for that. So why do we need intellectual property rights? One, for the appreciation of creativity and innovation, so that people are motivated towards creating new things, towards innovation. And now when the times are such that there can be financial gains through such intellectual property, in those times it is more important for financial considerations too, so that somebody else is not earning money on your behalf for your work, because you're utilizing time, resources, energy on something, creating something intellectually. So we need intellectual property rights to ensure that what is due, what is legally even due to a person is given to that person. So to recognize the intellect, to promote innovation, to ensure fair competition, so that nobody is just copy pasting and people are producing something of their own. Then for financial benefits, so that the financial benefits go to the right person, and to promote businesses. Of course, since you're talking about the startups, in startups they are very, very important, because startups are more about creativity, for innovation. And such startups, if they are given these rights, they can ensure that whatever they're adding new to the system is protected, and they will get their due share through them.
Great. Your next question is, what is patent?
Well, patent is one form of intellectual property, right? It is largely given to for any product, creation of any product, or for any process. When I say patent, let me explain it simply by saying that something which belongs, it is like having it as your pet, no? So it is like it belongs to me. If I have created a process, say for example, if I add this chemical with this chemical, I can generate some other chemical which has some utility in the scientific world. So this process of how much quantity is to be added and how it is added, this belongs to me. Right. So this is my patent. So anything which is any product or process which is the creation of an individual, say a medicine, any electronic design, all these things are patents. Patents are largely given for processes or for products. They have to be on, for on, say, creating something new, something which has utility, and also something which has been invented. It was not pre-existing, and it has not just been modified in a form, say, by common sense, but it has been actually created through intellect. So the patents protect some kind of creations.
Moving with the next question, what kind of ideas can be patented?
Well, I think all those ideas which have some social utility, as in which are giving something beneficial to the society. Largely because these days we talk about only monetary terms. So, say if I have created something which will say it can cure, say, cancer patients. So all those things which have some utility, which are adding to the convenience of the mankind, and which will generate some financial income too, all such ideas can be patented.
Good, sound good, ma'am. Moving with the next question, what is a trademark?
Well, a trademark is largely, it is, of course, yet another form of intellectual property, right? What is a trademark? Trade, usually in common parlance, it means business, it means commerce. So anything that is the identity of a business or of a trade, of a commerce, is a trademark. It can be anything. Say say it can be a logo, say for Apple. It can be a sign, a symbol, a phrase. It can be the tagline. Anything can be a trademark. Trademarks are generally such identity markers which are used to differentiate between brands. So trademarks are usually given for the business processes, right? So if you are doing some business, you want that business to be identified through something particular, say a word or a logo or a design, or all of these combined, that will become the identity of the business and is known as the trademark. So the mark or the identity of a trade is a trademark, simply speaking.
Nice. Moving with the next question, what is a logo in trademark law?
Well, when we talk about logos, these are the symbolic representation of the business. Say, if I have say the Apple Watch, there's this logo of Apple on every product that Apple produces. So these logos are something which kind of give you an identity, but these are more in symbolic forms. So you don't have to read Apple every time you are purchasing an Apple product. If you see that logo, you will automatically identify the product with that particular company. So logos are a form of trademarks wherein some kind of symbolic representation is done. For example, of course, it is Apple or maybe some other company using some kind of a logo or design. It can be anything. For example, a company using a cup or teacup for representing its tea business. So a logo is more of a symbolic representation.
Your next question is, what is a brand name?
Well, the brand name, technically speaking, a brand earns a name only when it has worked hard, on a lighter note. But yes, a brand name is something which has been, which has been kind of registered by the brand, as in you have registered yourself as a company, right, providing some consultancy services, so you have that name, right? Gradually you build yourself as a brand in that particular service, so that becomes your brand name. So once I start doing a business, I will take some name. I will start it with some kind of a, identity mark as a name, and when it is slowly built, it turns into a brand name. So usually people will say that okay, this is a brand name, but I kind of recommend that you can call it a brand name only once you have established it as a brand in your field. But yes, in by whatever name you have been operating, whatever is your in whichever business you're working, that is your brand name. The identity of the brand, identity of any company, identity of any business is the brand name, the name with which you enter the market.
Moving with the next question, how long does a trademark last?
Well, a trademark, interestingly, can last for infinity, because you just have to keep on renewing it every 10 years. So going by that way, until and unless there is some serious legal hassle or some the circumstances require, so the trademark can be renewed every 10 years.
Moving with the next question, what is a copyright?
A copyright, see, all these intellectual property rights, when we talk about them, the meaning of these is contained in the word itself. So the right to copy, the right to produce, the right to speak, the right to present, anything that belongs to the original author, the original creator, is a right to copy, right? So if I have written a book, so to produce its replica, to present it to people orally or verbally or in written form, to make some kind of visual representation out of it, a film or anything. So that is the right to copy. So if I have created something, maybe a painting or anything, and if somebody wants to copy it, the right belongs to me. So they will have to ask me first if they want to copy it. So the right to copy anything is the copyright, and that belongs to the original creator of any artwork, of any music creation, of any dance form, of any dramatic representation, of any literary work. So the right to copy remains with the original creator, and this is known as copyright.
Great. Um, your next question is, what is the difference between copyright and trademark?
Well, these are, in fact, very two different domains. When you talk about copyright, it is more in personal form, as in of the creator. Trademarks usually belong to the business domains. So if I have to say, talk about the copyright, it is more about original creation of the creator, and then the trademark will belong to the business processes, the identity of the businesses. Usually they are small. Trademarks are like, maybe they can be phrases or they can be slogan, some identity, but the artworks, of course, they're very expensive. They can be very long too, like books in the copyrights, right? Period in the copyright, the lifetime of the owner, and of course for the literary work 60 years after the death. In the trademarks, these are infinite. You can renew them every 10 like years after they are done with. So they are belong to different domains. Technically, trademarks are about the identity of the businesses. Copyrights are about your own work, right? So in a trademark, the patent can be different, but trademark is about that you're operating through this business and this has to continue. Whereas the copyright is about the original work which belongs to somebody in particular. They can be co-authors too. And similarly in trademark, of course, there are companies involved. The larger systems are involved in trademarks. Usually the copyright, a handful of individuals. So copyrights will belong to creations and trademarks to business processes. So this is the main difference between them.
Nice. The next question is, how can someone protect their creativity work?
Well, this is very important in the times of social media, wherein anything or everything can be copied, no? Because these days people are fighting that this song was mine and this poem was mine, this particular drama was mine. So there are various ways. One, you can register your work. Of course, say scientific creation, maybe a medicine, get a patent for that. Then even the designs can be registered. In India, there are various laws. Then you can have like there are automatic mediums. In India, this is Patents Act 1970, Trademarks Act 1999, Copyrights Act 57, 1957, Act 2000. Then geographical indications too. This I think it comes from 1990. Get your intellectual property registered, and if there is some infringement, you can approach the courts. Earlier there was this board also. There was this board of intellectual property and appellate board which was dissolved in 2021. So ever since, there are civil suits and criminal suits in this regard. And of course, if you have registered with the customs, customs department, even the internationally, your these intellectual property rights can be taken care of. So there are various ways in which you can protect your ideas, through getting them registered, through getting them identified. And if you talk about the social media platform, of course, in this, there are copyright strikes, say for the YouTube, and because there's this content ID system, these technical social media platforms wherein Digital Millennium Copyright Act of 1998, under which the YouTube strikes, copyright strikes are done. So there are various ways in which you can protect ideas, but I will still say in the digital world, it is still difficult to identify who is copying your creation. So yes, there are various ways in which you can protect your ideas. But first and most important is being vigilant about what you have done, what you have created, and letting the people know that this is your creation.
It sounds good. Moving with the next question. What should you do if someone use your IP without permission?
Someone uses your IP, well, of course, you can take actions. Of course, under the laws which I have previously mentioned, the Patents Act, the Trademarks Act, you can first of all send a notice to that person that this is my copyright, or maybe this is my trademark or the patent, and you should not be using it. A warning, if it works, it's well and good. If it doesn't, you can start a civil suit or criminal suit depending on the nature of the infringement. Or and if possible, if the parties are willing, so there can be mediation or arbitration for the for the resolution of dispute.
Moving with the next question. Why is IP important for entrepreneurs?
Well, IP is not just important for entrepreneurs, but I'd say IP is important for everybody. But if you have to talk about why it is important for entrepreneurs, one, every business idea or every startup has some kind of vision, and that vision, that idea needs to be protected because that is your original contribution to the society. So if we do not protect it in the times of say internet or digital era, and also in the times of artificial intelligence, every idea can be copied, it can be circulated, I can even say that faster than the speed of light. So the entrepreneurs should know how they can protect their ideas, how can they can ensure that they are building a brand, how they can ensure that they are being competitive, they are being fair, they are benefiting the society, and also how they can ensure that they are creating a space for themselves in the market. So these are the intellectual property rights only through which you can ensure that your brand, your efforts, your time, your ideas, your intellect is being duly protected. So it is very, very important for the entrepreneurs.
Nice. Um, your next question is, how does IP help in business growth?
IP can help in business growth. I think if you are building a brand, you're building some kind of identity. See, why do people go for trademarks or the logos? Because they are catchy. Okay, so whatever is appealing, whatever is has some kind of visual attraction, whatever is more authentic to people, whatever people feel is maybe trendy, they will be attracted to it. So IP can help in business expansion by giving people a freedom to be creative, freedom to build attractive trademarks, freedom to be innovative, freedom to to take decisions which are out of the league. So if you are doing something in, say, how did this this market change, say when you talk about soft drinks, because people took such decisions and these decisions were protected through intellectual property. Say there is this some kind of formula through which Coca-Cola is created, or maybe some any other fruit drink or any other soft drink is created, and if the formula was not protected, will that company have reached the kind of status and the kind of the reputation it has, and the kind of the expansion, financial expansion it had? So had there been no intellectual property right, the formula would have been leaked, people would have been using it, and the company would not have got its due share. So for businesses, it is important that whatever they are doing is protected through intellectual property, and once it is protected, they can expand themselves without any fear.
Great. The next question is, what are the key laws you focus on for International Peace Initiative?
Well, when I talk about international peace initiatives, my dear, I have been working as an international mediator largely, and even as a legal executive or the board head of the legal part of global peace. Let's talk. My core area has been to ensure that no human rights are infringed. There are the communication barriers are removed. There are very, very beneficial or maybe at least authentic agreements with people. So the focus areas remain the human rights. So for us, the human rights charter or maybe the UN charter are the reference points, and even the mediation laws across different international territories are the reference point to resolve disputes, because peace can be built only through some kind of the standards which we set. So if there are human rights set for people, we can advocate them. If there are some kind of conflict resolution standards established for people, we can advocate them. So my role as an international peacemaker has been largely on promoting community mediation. I run courses on community mediation on the platform of Global Peace Let's Talk International. Then through ensuring that even the in-house disputes are resolved through mediation, and to ensure that whatever the activities the organization undertakes are oriented towards peace. So I take care of the legal aspects based on the human rights. So this is how I ensure peace on the international platform.
Nice. Moving with the next question, how do you measure the success of a mediation?
Well, that's a tricky question because mediation largely is about ensuring that the parties are building relationships. You see, when we talk about peace, there are three steps in any peace process. One is the resolution of the conflict immediately at hand. So, if the two countries are fighting, you want them to stop the immediate fight, say ceasefire at the border. This is conflict resolution. Then there is conflict management. While the conflict remains, they have stopped fighting. The war is kind of on a temporary cease. So what if maybe they have stopped doing business, so in between. So what we will do in conflict management, we will try to kind of convince them to start doing the business. Then there is conflict transformation, in which we will tell them that conflicts are of no use and they need to be completely eliminated. So in mediation, the purpose is not just immediate resolution. The kind of mediation I have been practicing, it is more about the transformation of an individual, transformation of the hearts. So it is about making humans more of human. For that, I think mediation becomes successful if the human values inside an individual are invoked and they become more and more oriented towards peace. They start talking to the individual, they start respecting the opponent. So for me, that kind of mediation is successful. Of course, professionally and technically, you want some immediate resolution as well. But I, in a mediation process, look for something more than immediate resolution. Immediate resolution will definitely come to you if the parties are transformed, if there is non-violent communication within them. But mediation is not just about conflict resolution, it is more about peace building. So for me, a successful mediation is when the parties have transformed, when they feel inside the human values inside their heart.
Nice. Moving with the next question, how do you manage a multinational legal team?
Oh, well, that's quite not that difficult a task. Reason being that we have a good team. There are many people who are working, and also because I have that expertise in the area. So whatever comes to me, I make sure that I am going through the legal aspects of it, because of my background. I'm a lawyer. I'm an international mediator. So these things, of course, come naturally to any lawyer or advocate based in anywhere in the world. So whenever some legalities arise or whether some conflicts arise, I'm kind of aware of that, and also we have a good team, a cooperative team, and my grounding in nonviolent communication in particular has helped me a lot in dealing with people. So since I have a doctorate in nonviolent communication and its role in mediation or conflict resolution, so that makes it more easier for me to look into the legal aspects of an international organization.
Great. Your next question is, how do you train local partners on legal frameworks for peace?
Well, for that, my dear, we have different, courses being run. One of them is community mediation. Then there are various legal aspects of, say, corporate sector. There are courses on bullying. There are courses on communication. There are courses on, say, women, gender equality. So there are different courses through which these kind of things are done. Most important is to educate people, right? So for the training, different courses are being run. We kind of associate ourselves with those community leaders. We tell them how conflicts can be resolved, how you can, the leadership training is also given, this in the training in servant leadership. So once they understand that, they kind of manage their own groups, and they come back to us with any problems whatsoever. So there are we have those, no, the levels of the courses. So once they have cleared this one level, then level 2, level 3, and then the community mediation, which we recently organized with different mediators from across the globe. So these are such initiatives through which we are ensuring that even at the local level, the people are learning what is required to resolve a conflict.
It's moving with the next question. What workshops or sessions do you conduct for community leaders?
I didn't get you. If you can please repeat the question.
What
What workshops do
workshops
I
or
conduct for conflict
sessions
resolution? Is it?
community leaders? Yes.
Okay, for the community leaders, largely we conduct, say, non-violent communication workshops on how to manage their negative sentiments, say anger, how to become a better human being. Non-violent communication is one such, servant leadership is another, and community mediation, then health and mental well-being. The community leaders, see, there is this saying that what you do not have, you cannot give it to others. So we ensure that all the community leaders have transformed themselves first before venturing into the peace activities outside. So, for that, we conduct various courses in mediation, in nonviolent communication, in servant leadership, and there will be upcoming courses on bullying, etc., to so that they understand the basics of gender equality, the basics of social equality, the basis of economic freedom, and all those such considerations which need to be considered. And then we train after once they are trained, they venture into the social activities themselves. We have many people in Africa, in particular, who have trained from our courses and are working as peace educators in those countries. Because I'm sure you're very well aware that there are many conflicts, ethnic, social, religious, going on across the world, and Africa is one such country where there are many conflicts. So in that continent, these people are working as peace educators, as community mediators. So this is how we train them in the art of peaceful conflict resolution.
Okay, nice. Moving with the next question. What motivates you to join Global Peace? Let's Talk International.
Well, there are two reasons for that in particular. One is that my zeal to do something more than the ordinary. And second is that it is a platform through which you can connect with various people and you can promote peace ideas. So this is what motivated me towards joining Global Peace Let's Talk International. It just happened because they needed somebody who has a thorough grounding in the legalities of international law. And since I was the best student of the year during my law graduation, so it was an opportunity for me to combine the peace ideas with my legal training and then join an international platform from where I can operate effectively to connect with people around the globe. So it was, of course, both a social adventure and a personal ambition, both.
It sounds good. Your next question is: can you share an example where a simple talk turned a conflict around?
Well, yes, there are many. If I have to talk about the process in mediation, a family was disputing. The brother and sister had a dispute over a property, and the mother was there, father was no more alive. The mediator tried to convince both the brother and the sister. My mother was only a kind of a witness to the process, but what they would do is they would sit and they would talk and they would talk about the well-being, like what did you eat, how was the day, and such little things during the process of mediation. What happened was eventually the hearts of the brother and sister were transformed, and they realized that the property doesn't matter much. What matters is the love and compassion and having their mother around. And in this way, the little, the small efforts, the everyday conversation wherein how were you, how was your day, did you sleep well, it transformed the entire conflict and they were reunited as a family. So yes, a dialogue can make a lot of difference. When you're talking, you can help others, get out of those fears which they have. You can understand the other person better and give upon your misconceptions. So in this way, dialogues can transform conflicts.
Nice. Moving with the next question, which past experience best prepared you for this role?
Which past experience did I use for?
Which past experience best prepared you for this role?
Okay, for the role as a legal executive in GPLT, I have already spoken about it that I had, a very keen interest in legal aspects of international law and how these organizations work. Of course, I was again the best student during my law years, and I always had this, this uh, keen interest in doing something more than what is ordinary. So a simple career was not something I was eyeing for. And because of that, I kept on, speaking at international events and learning a lot about international laws. And then I gradually, this global peace let's talk happened, and I joined this. So this is something which came to me because of my experience in law and nonviolent communication both.
Great. Moving with the next question, what rights does a copyright owner have?
Well, all the rights, the right to copy, of course, the right to sell, the right to reproduce, the right to present, the right to visual reputation, representation, the right to speak on the topic, the right to say present the topic, all the rights related to that particular copy or the creation is with the copyright owner. And if you want to do anything with that original creation, you have to contact the copyright owner and give the copyright owner the due reward or award or the payment, whatever.
Okay. Moving with the next question, what is the role of World Intellectual Property Organization?
Well, technically, if you talk about international organizations, they only lay the standards which need to be followed. It might sound a little pessimistic, but I feel that international organizations only do the lip service to anything. Whether it be UN or, of course, they are doing something, but I think that their efficiency needs to be increased. So, of course, World Intellectual Property Organization is one such organization which protects the intellectual property rights. How? By it is a UN agency, of course, and it was established somewhere around 1967. And there was some conventions in Paris and Bonn, and it was a result of that. And it implements the agreements, it lays down the norms, standards, it promotes the intellectual property rights. It also provides these services such as the settlement of disputes through mediation and arbitration. And then it overlooks the treaties which have been made internationally, say for the patents, the Patent Cooperation Treaty. Then there's this Madrid system for the trademarks and this Hague system for the, I think, industrial designs, right? So, yes, of course, they lay down the standards, they are governing bodies and organizations which one can look up to for a reference point, as a reference point for resolution of any dispute related to intellectual property, and also as a reference point to lay down the standards and through which the intellectual property can be protected.
Okay, nice. Moving with the next question, what is an exclusive license?
Well, exclusive license is giving somebody the sole right to do anything with the creation, whatever you have done. So if suppose I've created a music or maybe a song, and I give that exclusive license to it to somebody, only that person, the licensee, will be able to use that song. Even I, as a licensor, cannot use that song. So this is an exclusive right over something, over an intellectual property. Whereas when you give that non-exclusive right, non-exclusive means I can give that right to so many people. My song can be used by many people. Right. So exclusive right is only one person. The licensee has that right, and even I cannot use it during that period if I have given it for some period. And non-exclusive, of course, is when anybody I allow can use that. So exclusive right is so exclusive that even it excludes the licensor, the creator of that particular thing, from using the creation. Right. So it is absolutely exclusive. Right.
Okay, nice. This is your last question for today's session. Name one way IP rights can expire early.
Well, by giving up, of course, if I don't want to use my intellectual property right, I can give up on it anytime I want to. So, this is one way it can expire early, but there are many other ways to say if you're not renewing it, maybe if some fees is due, if you've not paid that fees, and of course, other ways too. But I think the easiest way to do that is to make it expire early, is to give upon that. So once you give upon something, it expires automatically. So this is one kind of a thing through which the IP rights can expire, of course, very early, earlier than you have intended them to go back. So giving up on non-renewal, these are some ways in which these can expire.
It sounds good. Moving ahead, we would like to express our sincere gratitude, Dr. Mansi Sharma, for being our guest for today at Conversation with Consultants. Your presence and engagement helped to make this event successful. Thank you providing insight into your exciting journey. Further, we could also like to thank our audience for listening patiently throughout this event. Thank you everyone for joining with us today and hope that everyone gains some knowledge from this event. Looking ahead, we are excited to announce that our next episode 74 of Conversation with Consultants will be held soon. We hope to see you all there. Thank you and we look forward to reconnecting with you again. Do subscribe our YouTube channel and follow us all social media handles to stay connected with us. Goodbye and have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rima, and thank you to the SK Associates for this kind invitation and for letting me speak my thoughts on how IP laws are important. And also one aspect of it I would like to add is on mediation before we end. How mediation is very, very useful in intellectual property rights. There was this brand producing, say, menswear, jeans in particular, and there was this local person using the trademark and producing a copy. What happened was this person was selling authentic things, and he had more sales than the actual brand. So one day the brand owner happened to visit that city, which was a very local area. What happened? He saw that this fellow is selling much more than I am able to sell. Let me just go and ask him how it is being done, how he's doing it. So he went there and realized that man actually had those selling skills, those authenticity, and that genuinity in the products. So what happened that through mediation, instead of going for a copyright or the trademark infringement, say the trademark infringement, of course, what he did was he said, I want you to become my franchise and I will give you my trademark and you have to sell it. So doing this, using the skills of that person who was infringing the trademark, that particular brand increased its sales, and because this was resolved through mediation. So entrepreneurs, the startups, companies should in particular think of mediation as a dispute resolution mechanism whenever such intellectual property right infringements arise, because through mediation, innovative ideas, the intellectual ideas can be created through which these copyright infringements can be used for the benefit of the parties, right? So I would advocate intellectual property rights whenever violated, should be managed through mediation, right? Thank you so much, Ms. Rima. Thank you once again, everybody.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.